Hi there everyone, this is Temperance from Comic Crazy Studios. As you can see, I'm wearing a respirator today because I'm going to be doing some vacuforming. So I'd like to show you the process and how I do it. So, I've got a couple of items here. I have my actual vacuform machine. As you can see, it's got little holes. This is what sucks down the plastic. And there's a cord connected to a vacuum underneath the table there. And this is plugged into what I call my bake box. It's basically something that heats the plastic so I don't have to do it in my oven and kill myself with all the toxic chemicals. So it's just a coiled wire that heats up and melts the plastic. On the side here I've got a couple settings. Down is on, you can see the light turns on there. Middle is not on, and top is this is plugged into the vacuum, so if I put this up, the vacuum comes on. I do it this way. This is plugged into a wall outlet, and then the vacuum is plugged into this. This prevents the bake box being on at the same time as the vacuum. You don't want them on at the same time because it can actually pop the breaker. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to put the plastic on. Then we'll heat it up, and then we'll vacuform. Over here, this is going to be my mold I'm going to be vacuforming today. It's a bird. I sculpted out of clay, made a mold, and from that mold I cast a resin base, filled the inside with expanding foam, so this is a solid piece. The thing you need to know on vacuforming, there can be no undercuts. So everything has to be at an angle. If you have anything that tucks under, it will not cut in the vacuform machine. This means this process is not for everyone. It's what I like to use, but it's a little harder if you don't know what you're doing. Okay, so we'll start first by putting the plastic onto the frame. Okay, so I've got these aluminum frames that I use. And this is the plastic that I use. It is a 1/8 inch thick ABS plastic. It comes in many colors. I mostly use black and white though. So I will place the plastic onto the aluminum frame. And I use bulldog clips to clip it in place. So 3 on the long side and 2 on the short side. You want to make sure everything's lined up neatly so it fits into the vacuform machine properly. And once that's done, I will put it onto the vacuform bake box. So I just set it on top here. And then I flip the switch down to turn it on. You can see the lights on there. And then, as you can see underneath, the wires will start to turn red as they heat up. I can already feel the heat off of it. There you go. You can see it's starting to turn red. So it is getting very hot. So I'm going to put the plastic over top of it, and then we wait. Plastic melt, but you cannot leave the room. You have to stay there and make sure it melts properly. You'll note as it starts heating up that the plastic will start to sink and it'll start to smoke. This is why I'm wearing the respirator, because this smoke is toxic and you don't want to breathe it in. This stuff also gets tremendously hot. This is what my leather gloves are for. You want to put these on when you're handling anything or you'll burn yourself on the plastic. So, like I said, this is pretty unexciting, so I am just going to speed up the camera now. Alright, so you can see the plastic is really starting to warp now, and it's smoking. Again, this is why I have the respirator on. I've also got a ventilation system up here, so it draws all of the smoke away. If it's summer out, I'll have the window open too, but as you can see, it's pretty snowy and awful outside. You can't do this in really cold temperatures. It's about 0 right now, so it's not too bad. Okay, I'm going to start talking about what I'm going to be doing, because once the vacuum is on, it's going to be too loud to hear me. So I place my mold right in the middle of the vacuform table. You want to make sure there's holes on either side. If there aren't, it won't suck properly. Once I turn the vacuum on and the plastic is sucked down, I am going to use just a basic X-Acto knife, and I'm going to cut around the edges. This makes it easier to pop it out once it's done. And it saves me having to do a lot of dremeling later if I can do it with the knife in advance while the plastic is still soft. I can also use my own hands just to push things down into the mold. As you can see, it is getting really smoky, so I'm going to turn the fan on. Unfortunately, you won't be able to hear me from this point out, so you'll just have to watch it and see what I do. found it. Now I have a vacuformed mold I can work from. As you can see, I didn't quite cut out the eyes evenly as I wanted, but that's fine. You could use a Dremel to fix that. So all I need to do is add eyes, hinges, and some fur, and I've got myself a bird head. So that's vacuforming 101. Thanks for watching.